Hello and welcome to the next episode of Machine Guns in Your Movies podcast. I'm Sasha.
And I'm Joel. And review The Searchers, that'll be the day. But yes, that is in fact the movie we're reviewing on this week's episode. And it's the
Yeah.
1956 classic by John Ford. And I just rewatched it today. I'd seen it several decades ago.
Same.
When was the last time you saw it?
Some 15, 20 years ago, literally on TV or something like that.
About the same here. I just rewatched it this morning, and it's a lot better than I barely recalled any details about it, but it's a lot better than I remember. And not that I thought it was crap before or anything, but it's quite good. And as we mentioned, it's released in 1956. It's one of the many collaborations between John Wayne and John Ford. I'm not myself a huge Western fan, but I am trying to get more into the genre, and especially the works of those two. I've actually quite developing something of a fondness for Mr. Wayne's work, and this is a great one. It's stars a young Natalie Wood as well, and it centers around a man a former Confederate soldier, who, while visiting some family members, his brother, to be more specific, they end up getting. Just a routine visit. They end up being killed by a bunch of Comanche Native Americans, and several of the women, the younger girls, although most of the family is killed, several of the younger girls are kidnapped, and he decides to pursue them involved with, I believe, an adopted relative, is Marty, if I'm not mistaken. They start on a chase to get them back, and that's pretty much the core of the movie. And there are quite a few ups and downs, but I found it to be quite. I do find it to be quite good. And what was your take on this film, Sasha?
Similar, good with lots of general problems, but good, not good, pretty good. Certainly one of the best westerns of the 1950s. And it's that kind of a middle part of not really middle part, but like a beginning of the third part of John Ford's career, when he started doing this kind of a little darker westerns, and going into the more, when it comes to the violence, the relationship between the characters, and before that. Before that, he did Grapes of Wrath and things like that. So he did go into those areas before, but in the different genre. But this is one of his best films. Generally, it's considered. Some say it's the best Western of all time. Some film critics, I wouldn't agree, but it's certainly one of the best of the 50s. It's a film of its time. At the same time, it's a really. I don't have much problems as I expected it to have before I watched the film. So I do think it's a really good film, and I definitely recommend it. It's I mean, the name the name of the film is The Searchers, and that's what the film is about. It's a very well directed. It's almost 2 hours long, but it does not feel that. I do remember some people saying that it's like too long at certain places, that the pace is kind of uneven, but I didn't feel really that. The film is pretty tight and pretty well done when it comes to the rhythm, and when when it comes to the parts of the story, the certain amounts of time are given to the certain parts of the story, the right amount of time. So I didn't feel that. So I mean, for me, it's a very well directed film generally.
Yes, I would say so. I had a somewhat dissimilar take on it, like not too different, I would say. But my opinion was that very early on, I wasn't super invested in it. When it's just him discussing it, John Wayne has this magic. His character of the Duke, just a
Definitely.
general kind of character he plays. There's a sort of charm to him that works every time, even if the movie's not of great quality. You just like seeing him on screen. I think he speaks to something. even if you're not I think he embodies the idealized American. He's the embodiment of American ideals, for better or worse. But at the
Well,
same time,
that's fine.
even as a
Yeah.
man, he's very charming and like there's a
Mm,
rugged charm to him. But in this one, in addition to having a more like he has some more down played and like he's has some more negative traits to his character in this time, which I thought was an
mhm.
interesting take on it. He does some things that are a bit skeezier and like more, as I'd say,
Emotional.
morally questionable actions and
Mhm,
ideas. But I'd say that one of the movie's strengths is that it's sort of this crescendoing thriller of sorts. Basically, it starts off
mhm,
like I wasn't super invested at the start, but as it goes on, you really do hope that they end up finding Debbie and Lucy over the course of the
mhm.
film, and it becomes more intense. They begin to find out details, and it's shown that it's taking them forever, and it's like I don't know, it just there's something almost poetic and feels like something. I could understand
Yeah.
somebody like Jean-Luc Godard liking this because it feels like something of almost a sort of epic, like a massive journey across years to find a missing
It is
relative or something
exactly.
like that. It's wonderful. It really ends up building over time, and I like that. But I wanted to briefly ask you, Sasha, it's what were
Mhm.
some issues that you thought you would have or you were worried about? I think you mentioned that just at the very beginning of when you started speaking a moment ago.
Well, the issues would be more the connected with what I mentioned briefly, that it's a film of its time in a way. The how to say, the things that were usual and normal in the westerns of those time are seen in this film, although this film is kind of on the border between that and later more kind of darker and kind of more like the man who shot Liberty Valance and then later Clint Eastwood westerns. This movie is somewhere in the middle. And you see that you mentioned the traits of the character, the main character. He's both hero and anti-hero in a way, and Ethan, and he's both is acting pretty racist at certain moments, and in certain moments he's like, it's so mixed in one character, and it's not like the director endorses that. He's just showing that basically as a matter of fact that happens. I mean, to put aside Wayne's private persona or whatever. I mean, but this one was generally my problems were more not more much when it comes to his character, but in some of the like scenes where where the Native Americans, the Indians, are shown. Like for example, the how to say, the scene where they're trading with the Indians, where they are giving them hats, and then they get the woman in exchange, which is something that happened in real life, I guess. But the scene is so caricaturally done, and the character of that Indian woman is treated pretty much as a very much as a caricature, not pretty, yeah, very much as a caricature, and that there are several scenes like that, which was not, that does not come from the Wayne's character, but come from the perspective of the director, and that was kind of a problematic for me in the sense that, it was, you're basically treating something as a thing, as an animal, not really as a human being. That was kind of problematic for me, for example. Not kind of, but problematic.
I
Because
suppose it's that yeah, that is something we should
the way
probably
they
mention
kick
to our
her and
audience.
things like that, like and the way that they are calling her basically like what they said, look, yeah, look, they call her look. It's basically your treat, as if you will call an animal. It was like a, that bothered me pretty much. Like there's several scenes like that. For example, that's something that I had a problem with. For, yeah.
I can understand that. We should probably mention to sort of like as an advice to what is it just to tell other people who might think of viewing it they might find some of the scenes a bit dated or depictions of Native Americans is a bit
Yeah.
poorly done. But looking at what you just said, it almost feels like a bit of a duality of man. Like my impressions of the Native American characters in this film is they're actually like not super rounded. Like they don't feel villainous or mean spirited. They just you get the feeling that this is less of a battle between good and evil and just a conflict
Mhm.
between separate groups or something like that.
Yes.
That was my take on it. We do sympathize with the white characters, but
Mhm.
looking at it, maybe it's just me. Like as you mentioned, John Wayne's character Ethan has like explicitly racist tendencies. But
Yes.
he's actually quite well versed. He speaks, I believe he's shown it's actually Navajo, but in the movie it's said to be a Comanche language and stuff
Mhm.
like that. He's fairly well educated character and
Mhm.
quite worldly. So despite his prejudices, he's still quite advanced and he doesn't
Mhm.
seem to have like any kind of like I don't know. He doesn't twirl his mustache or constantly use slurs or anything like that.
Not
But
in
he
that
does
way.
have hostility or anything like. He does have definitely some hostility and prejudices towards them. So again, it's like what you mentioned earlier with the hero and anti-hero aspect. It's like he is, I say, a very fairly well-rounded character. In fact, John
Mhm.
Wayne apparently viewed it as one of his absolute best performances, and
And it is.
he took it quite
Yeah.
seriously. He even did a bit of minor method acting. He was apparently usually very. I read about this. He was apparently usually light-hearted and jolly on film sets, but in this one, he was a bit more reluctant, reticent, and not very speakative to others. So
Oh.
I think he really did try to channel and make this. It is a great performance. I will say that.
I didn't know that generally, but I know that John Ford sometimes gave him hard times on the set. So I don't know if that
Gave
is the case
everyone a
here.
hard time.
Sorry.
He gave everyone a hard time.
Everyone gave it a hard time, of course. That goes without saying when it comes to John Ford, but especially with him, it was like more. But I mean, it was more like obviously he respected and loved him, but he did give him a hard. I don't know about this film, but I guess that's also the case. Yeah, yeah. Generally, I mean, as I said, it's at the same time it's a film of its time, and you can see certain darker tones of the next several decades and the westerns of the next several decades, and the way that the Native Americans are portrayed, the Comanche, and they're they're less of a, yeah. You mentioned something of a, it's not really between good fight between good and evil, and I would agree with that. And they're not really here for as a yeah, they are here as a group to be fought against and all of that, but they're really in the background. The main theme is the search, and the search for these girls, and the film is called The Searchers after all. And I mean, and that's all. I mean, there's this obsessiveness in the character of Ethan, that he only wants to do that, and to find the girls, and there's that element, and Native Americans are basically kind of background to all of that. It could be Mexicans, it could be somebody else. So I think in that area, it shouldn't be taken too seriously. But yeah, they are certainly depicted as not much more as than ruthless killers, and there is an element to the character, the main character of the Scar. What's the main Native American character, who mentions that at one point that he got his two sons killed by the white man, and there's that element of the revenge from him. So, but yeah, that's a little bit of that, but not much. And yeah, I mean, I don't think it's particularly. I mean, there were Westerns who were much much more racist towards Indians, towards Indians, Native Americans than this one. So yeah, that and when it, going away from that, I want to come back to the direction and to the film is a shot mostly in the Monument Valley. It takes place in Texas, but it's a shot in Monument Valley, and this is one of the best use of Monument Valley on screen ever. I mean, it's magnificent. It's the
I
Ford, of
think it's
course.
really hard to screw up filming Monument Valley, if I'm being honest. If we're being
Sorry.
honest, I think it's really hard to screw up a good shot of Monument Valley,
Yeah,
if we're being
yeah.
honest. That is really one of the most beautiful parts of the United States, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, you can yeah, if you don't know how to, you would make something good out of it. But Ford, being Ford, of course, the master director, he really knows how to frame shots, and the locations helps a lot, obviously, and especially for when it comes to the framing, I really like the framing in this film, the way that the general geography of the place and the way he puts characters in the frame is of course magnificent in his other films, but here especially, I haven't seen many of his films for quite some time. I need to rewatch a lot of it. But for example, the last scene when he does it in one shot. Real He covers like the last scene when they get the girl back home, and then we see them coming inside the house, and John Wayne's character Ethan standing outside, and it's all done in one shot. They're greeting each other. The Martin and what's the name of his girlfriend? Now I'm Lucy, right?
I
Yeah,
believe so.
yes, Lucy. Yeah, they're greeting the Debbie and coming inside, and Martin and Lucy are also greeting each other and coming. And the John Wayne's character is standing outside, and it's all in one shot. And he's in the center of the frame, and the rest of the frame is dark because we see only through the door, through the crack of the door, and then he walks away. It's a great
Yeah,
shot, and I
I
mean, he really knows how to frame shots. I really like that.
took the words out of my mouth. I remember that ending shot, and I was like, "That is just magnificent. That is just really
Mm-hmm.
beautiful." The guy really knew how to frame shots a lot of the time. I saw How the West Was Won a while back, and again, although that entire movie was magnificently filmed due to I think they used an extra wide camera for that one. But yeah, that shot was amazing. Just a minor correction, I looked it up. Apparently, her name was Lori. Lucy was the older sister who gets killed, and it's fairly roughly implied that she's been raped too. So that's
Yeah,
another darker
yeah,
element. But yeah, also, I wanted to mention something about speaking of the way that the movie's shot, it's like I really like action from this kind of time period. Like there is an action scene, like when the Comanches
yeah.
successfully launch ambush on, like manage to launch an ambush on the initial search party right after the funeral and early on the movie. There's
The
like the
funnel
way they
one.
cross the river. Yeah, they cross the river. There's something so it almost has a docudrama feel about it. Like it feels realistic. There's no slow motion, no close up, and
Mhm.
like there's not this flashy editing. You really started to see that in the '70s. Like Peck and Paw started to popularize it, and
Yeah,
John Woo took it to a whole other degree in the '80s
yeah.
and '90s. But there's something really I don't know. It almost feels more realistic this way. You almost never see it in movies. These kinds of action scenes. I guess they're not
Mhm.
as flashy, but I don't know. It's something I noticed when watching it. It's like the action and sort of like any kind of fight scenes, like people, firing and stuff like gunplay and all that. There's an extra layer of realism, despite the fact that it lacks the pizzazz of that
Mm.
you'd find in more modern takes. Something like, say, in John Wick, you'd never see see it shot the same
Well,
way in a John
that
Wick film. So yeah.
certainly. In that way, yeah. When it comes to that scene and I when it comes to the westerns of that period, I like more generally the scenes when it comes to the direct, yeah, and the direct fist fight, or the scene that you just described near the river. When it comes to the scenes when they're like fighting like shooting at each other from far away, that those scenes are usually kind of the same. I mean, in this, you know that there is a scene where John Wayne and his sidekick will kill 100 Native Americans with a shotgun, and just hiding, and nobody will they will not be wounded, and all this. So that element is kind of monotonous. I mean, I expected that, and that's kind of also, yeah, not really, yeah, problematic, I would say. But that element of action, I saw many times, and I just took it for granted. I knew that will happen. But when it comes to the scene that you described, and when it comes to some closer fights, yeah, there is that element which which I also like. Um, yeah. Uh, I'm not sure who was the director of photography on this film, but it's yeah, doesn't matter. In all of his films look great. I mean, Ford films. Do you happen to know the name of the director of photography?
Brief check says it's somebody named Winston C. Haw. Winston
Okay,
C. Haw.
I cannot really remember, but yeah, okay, yeah. I just wanted to praise again the look of the film,
Oh,
and I wanted to mention
Winton.
that.
See, it's not Winston. It's Winton. Yeah, Seahawk. It would be pronounced Hawk, and it's obviously a German surname, but most English
Mm.
speakers would probably pronounce it as Hawk. But yeah, Winton Seahawk. I can't say I've heard of him, but he deserves to be praised. This is some good stuff. So yes, there's yeah.
I think
What is it?
he filmed
I've
several others during that time.
Sorry.
I think he filmed several of his other westerns during that time, but I cannot, I cannot pinpoint the exact titles. When it comes to, I remember that's the thing. When it comes to the, I really like this period of John Ford's career, where he went more into the open and more into the this kind of because before I remember watching also a long time ago. It's definitely due for a rewatch. I might change my opinion, but I remember watching Stagecoach. Stagecoach. It's. I remember it being very theatrical when, and the most of the action was inside. And I don't remember that being very well shot, for example. And I think that was one of his first westerns, really, 38, 39, something like that. But so yeah, I do like more this period when he went more into the open areas, and and he really mastered the frame. I mean, he was always the master of framing, but I would say that in some of his early westerns, there was a problem with the direction of the conversation, and the direction of those scenes. They seem kind of theatrical, but here not at all. I mean, obviously. So yeah, that's all. I mean, there's a lot of things to talk about this film, but I guess it's a pretty well-known film. It's a classic, and I definitely recommend it. It definitely is not. I mean, when it comes to the to today's views, let's put it that way. And I mean, a lot of it is a lot of the views of the Native Americans, and all of that conflict is definitely dated. But that still does not mean that the film is not great. I mean, it is still one of the. I prefer the later, like the 1960s onward westerns, but I cannot say that this one is not great, because it is. I mean, I definitely recommend it. So I mean, yeah, that's as I said, there's a lot of
Yeah,
things to talk about this film, but that in short, yeah, I definitely would recommend it to watch.
Yeah, for some of the earlier, like a lot of directors, this was considered an absolute classic. It's almost like the
Mhm.
Star Wars of westerns, because it had a major impact.
Absolutely.
Like a lot of people, like I don't know, Paul Schrader, Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, even Jean-Luc Godard have mentioned that they thought this was incredible. And apparently, David
Mm.
Lean literally viewed this film before making Lawrence of Arabia, simply because he wanted to get a feel for how to shoot a massive open desert or something like that when he made that film. So yes, there's
I can
God,
understand
it's
that.
but yeah, it had one hell of an impact. And yes, I once again I too heartily agree with my co-host, and I heartily recommend this to people who might be interested in it. Just I didn't find the depiction of Native Americans to be too particularly demeaning or anything like that. It's obviously stuff that you wouldn't see nowadays, but it's something that is worth mentioning for people who may not find that stuff agreeable. And yeah, that's about it for my end. I think I've said my piece. Do you have anything else you wish to add, Sasha?
Well, I guess there are quite a few things to talk about this film, but I think we should stop here, because I mean, yeah, we definitely recommend this film to our listeners, and uh, this film has been analyzed from every possible angle, and whatever we say, it's been said before already. So I guess we can wrap up here, and on the note that we, despite all the problems and flaws and all of that, definitely we recommend it. And that would be it for today's episode from my end too.
Yeah.
And,
So yeah, thanks to our audience for listening, and we look forward to next week where we'll figure out next time. So I should say when we figure out which movie we'll be watching, and
yeah, we don't know
but
yet
that'll
which
be an
one.
interesting. Yes, but
Yeah.
we do thank you for your time, and we look forward to being with you next when the next podcast comes out.
Same from my side. Bye.
So long.